Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in your life when you must stop replaying the chapters of yesterday and start writing the chapters of tomorrow. The future will not wait for you to get ready. It is already on the way. But you have to decide whether you're going to meet it prepared or let it pass you by. Your past is a place of reference, not a place of residence. There are too many people who have pitched their tents in the desert of their history. They have unpacked their bags, set out the furniture, and started to decorate a home in a place that was never meant to be permanent. The past is supposed to be a classroom, not a prison cell. It is where you go to learn the lessons that will equip you for the future. But it is not where you serve a life sentence. Every mistake you have made, every heartbreak you have endured, every disappointment that has shaken you, these are markers on your journey, not barriers to your destination. The trouble is, we tend to replay the same moment over and over until it becomes the soundtrack of our lives. You cannot walk forward while staring at the same frame in the reel of your memories. The more you rehearse the pain, the deeper it roots itself in your identity. But if you treat the past as a reference point, you can extract the wisdom without being trapped by the wound. Think of a rearview mirror in a car. It exists for one reason: to give you a glance, a quick check, to make you aware of what's behind. But the reason the rearview mirror is small and the windshield is large is because the direction you are headed matters more than the direction you came from. You were not designed to drive in reverse for the rest of your life. And yet, so many try to navigate forward with their eyes fixed on what's already gone. When you live in your past, you carry the weight of old failures like luggage you refuse to put down. And that baggage slows your pace. It doesn't just weigh down your steps, it bends your posture. You can't stand tall while crouching under the weight of what used to be. Even good memories can become anchors if you cling to them so tightly that you refuse to move into new seasons. A victory from 10 years ago is not meant to be your only victory. God's plan for your life is not that your best days be behind you, but that they serve as proof of what He can do again. Bigger, greater, and more abundantly. Some of you are stuck because you believe your past disqualifies you from your future. You keep saying, I can't move forward because of what I did. Or, people won't see me differently because they remember what I was. But the truth is, the only thing holding you in that place is your agreement with the lie that your yesterday is more powerful than your tomorrow. Every person who has ever done something significant has a record of imperfection. The difference between those who rise and those who remain is not the absence of a past. It's the refusal to stay there. Your past can guide you, but it should never govern you. Let it teach you discernment. Let it shape your resilience. Let it give you perspective. When you have been through enough storms, you learn how to read the clouds. When you have survived the betrayal, you know the signs of false loyalty. When you have wasted time, you learn to value every hour. The lessons are the treasure, but the location is not the inheritance. And hear me, leaving your past does not mean you deny it happened. It means you strip it of its authority to dictate your next step. It means you visit it only to retrieve the wisdom and leave before it traps you again. You cannot heal in the same environment where you were hurt unless something in you changes first. Some places you have to walk away from completely, not because they are evil in themselves, but because they represent a version of you that no longer exists. There will be people who try to remind you of who you used to be. They will point to your past because they are more familiar with your history than your potential. But just because they keep sending you invitations to return to your old life doesn't mean you have to RSVP. You have to be intentional about where you live mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Just as you wouldn't buy a one-way ticket to a city you have no desire to stay in, you shouldn't invest your energy in a time you were never meant to remain in. You must become comfortable saying, "That was me then, but it's not me now." And if people insist on talking to the old version of you, let them. But you don't have to show up to that conversation. The past is not an address where your mail should be delivered anymore. You are not a resident there. You are just passing through, grabbing the lessons, and moving towards something greater. Where your focus goes, your future grows. Life will always expand in the direction of your attention. What you look at the longest will become the strongest in your life. If you give your energy to fear, fear will grow roots and spread its branches over every area of your thinking. If you feed doubt, it will multiply until it chokes out your vision. But if you fix your eyes on your purpose, if you feed your faith, if you continually water your dreams, they will begin to bloom even in the most barren seasons. Focus is not just about looking, it is about locking in. It is refusing to be distracted by every noise that demands your attention. There will always be something pulling at you. People, problems, responsibilities, temptations. And if you give them equal weight, they will scatter your energy until you are drained and ineffective. But when you focus, you gather all your mental, emotional, and spiritual resources and aim them in one direction. Just like sunlight, when diffused, warms the earth. But when concentrated through a magnifying glass, it can start a fire. Your life becomes powerful when your focus is concentrated. Distractions are not always bad things. Sometimes they are good things that are not your things. The enemy of your best is often your good. You can get so caught up in doing 1,000 different activities, all of which seem fine, but none of which lead you closer to your destiny. Focus requires discernment. It is the ability to say no to opportunities that would cause you to drift, even if they appear promising. It's choosing not to scatter your energy on battles that don't belong to you. Every time you fight a fight that isn't yours, you have less strength for the fight that is. You cannot grow what you do not tend to. Just as a farmer must decide which crops to plant, water, and protect, you must decide which ideas, relationships, and visions to nurture. Neglect is a choice, and so is attention. If you spend more time focusing on the weeds than on the harvest, the weeds will take over. That is why you cannot let your mind dwell endlessly on what could go wrong. Fear is a seed too, and it will grow if you water it with worry. But hope, courage, and vision are also seeds, and they flourish under the constant light of focused intention. There will be seasons when focusing feels costly because it means letting go of things that once brought you comfort. Sometimes you will have to pull away from certain conversations, distance yourself from environments that keep you small, and shut down voices that speak against your growth. Focus may make you seem selfish to people who do not understand your calling. They will say you have changed, and they are right. Focus will change you. It will sharpen you, discipline you, and set you apart from the crowd. Your future is not built in a single day. It is built in the daily discipline of what you give your attention to. Every thought you entertain is like a brick laid in the foundation of your destiny. Over time, what you continually meditate on will manifest in your decisions, your habits, and your opportunities. If your focus is fractured, your progress will be slow. But if your focus is singular, your movement will be steady and your results undeniable. There is power in the principle of sight. Where your eyes go, your life follows. An athlete who looks toward the finish line runs straighter than one who glances at the crowd. A driver who fixes their gaze ahead avoids drifting into another lane. In the same way, if your eyes are locked on where you're going, you will instinctively align your actions to match that vision. You cannot move toward a destination you refuse to look at. Every day you wake up, your mind is like a camera lens. You can point it at the clutter, the noise, the chaos, or you can aim it toward your goals, your purpose, and your future. The picture you keep in front of you will develop over time. And if you're not intentional, the wrong image will be printed on the film of your life. This is why you must choose carefully what you focus on, because that choice is shaping your tomorrow while you are living today. The truth is, your focus is a form of investment. Whatever you give it to will either pay you dividends or charge you interest. The harvest you expect will always be the result of the seeds you consistently watch over. A gardener who ignores their crop cannot complain when nothing grows. Likewise, a dreamer who ignores their vision cannot be surprised when it fails to come to pass. Your future is not magic. It is the byproduct of your focus. Preparation precedes promotion. You cannot expect to step into a position you have not been prepared to handle. Promotion is not an act of random luck. It is the result of readiness meeting opportunity. The moment you pray for something greater, you must begin to equip yourself for the weight of it. Far too many want the crown without enduring the training that gives them the strength to carry it. They want the platform without building the character to stand on it. The blessing is never the problem. The problem is whether you have the capacity to manage it when it comes. Preparation is often unglamorous. It happens behind the scenes when no one is watching, when no applause is given, and when it feels like nothing is changing. But it is in those hidden seasons that you are being shaped. Just as an athlete trains in the off-season so they can perform when the championship arrives, you must be willing to put in the work before the opportunity comes. If you wait until the door opens to get ready, you will be too late. The door is not a place to start training. It is the place where you reveal the results of your training. In every field, those who excel are those who have learned to respect the process of preparation. A farmer does not wake up on harvest day and decide to plant. A musician does not stand on stage and learn the song in that moment. A pilot does not take off without hours and hours of unseen practice. The work behind the work is what produces the public moment of success. You cannot bypass preparation and expect to keep what you receive. What you gain too quickly, you can lose just as quickly. Preparation is not only about skill, it is about mindset. The wrong mindset will sabotage the right opportunity. If your character is weak, your gift can take you to places your integrity cannot sustain. That is why the preparation season often feels like pressure. It exposes what is in you so it can be corrected before the stakes are higher. It teaches you humility because you cannot skip the line without skipping the lessons. It teaches you discipline because greatness is not built on moments of inspiration, but on the consistency of action. There will be times when preparation feels unfair. You will see others promoted before you. You will wonder why your chance hasn't come yet. But what you must understand is that premature promotion is not a blessing. It is a burden. If you are elevated before you are ready, the very thing you prayed for can crush you. The preparation season is God's mercy, not His delay. It is His way of making sure you can carry the blessing without breaking under its weight. In preparation, you learn stewardship. You learn how to manage the small before you are trusted with the large. If you are careless with little, You will be careless with much. The habits you form in obscurity will follow you into visibility. If you cut corners when no one is watching, you will do the same when everyone is watching, and the consequences will be magnified. Excellence is not something you turn on when opportunity comes. It is a way of life you cultivate every day. Preparation often requires sacrifice. You may have to invest time when others are relaxing. You may have to study when others are sleeping. You may have to practice when others are playing. Every seed of effort you plant in the preparation season is building a harvest for your promotion season. While others see only the moment you step into the spotlight, you will know the years of labor that went into that one moment. The preparation season also trains your endurance. You cannot step into bigger responsibilities if you are easily broken by small pressures. The weight of greater influence, greater responsibility, and greater opportunity will demand greater resilience. You build that resilience in the shadows, in the quiet places, in the hours when no one is there to cheer you on. Every challenge you overcome in preparation is making you strong enough to stand when the promotion comes. Those who neglect preparation are like builders who rush to put up a house without laying a foundation. The structure may look impressive for a moment, but the first storm will reveal its weakness. In the same way, if you rush to promotion without building the foundation of preparation, the storms of responsibility, criticism, and pressure will quickly undo what you have gained. Promotion without preparation is an invitation to collapse. The truth is, preparation and promotion are inseparable. One is the seed, the other is the fruit. One is the training ground, the other is the battlefield. You cannot expect to harvest what you have not sown, and you cannot stand where you have not been strengthened to stand. Faith sees the finish line before your feet start running. It is the ability to visualize victory in the midst of uncertainty, to picture the promise before you hold it in your hands. Faith does not wait for evidence to appear. It moves on the conviction that the unseen is more real than the visible. When faith locks its eyes on the outcome, it starts walking toward it even when the path is unclear. The race of life is not for those who can only move when they see every step laid out before them. It is for those who can step forward in trust, believing that each stride will reveal the ground beneath them. Faith has a way of pulling the future into the present. It treats the finish line as already crossed, the mountain as already climbed, the dream as already fulfilled. This is why faith speaks differently. It calls things that are not as though they were. It does not deny the challenge, but it refuses to let the challenge define the conclusion. While fear says, what if it doesn't work? Faith says, what if it does? While doubt says, I believe it when I see it. Faith says, I'll see it because I believe it. The finish line is not always visible to the natural eye. Life has a way of surrounding you with obstacles, with seasons where everything in front of you looks like a wall instead of a door. But faith is a different kind of vision. It is sight that comes from within, a lens that sees beyond the obstacle to the outcome. When faith is active, you can look at a barren field and still see a harvest. You can stand in the middle of a storm and still see clear skies ahead. Faith does not eliminate preparation, it fuels it. When you see the finish line in your mind, you train differently, you plan differently, you live differently. You begin to run your race with intention because you know where you are headed. Even when fatigue sets in, the picture of the finish line energizes you. Runners who keep their eyes on the goal push through the pain because they understand the temporary discomfort is worth the ultimate reward. There will always be voices trying to convince you that the finish line is too far, that the race is too hard, that you are not equipped to win. But faith has selective hearing. It filters out the noise and tunes into the voice that says, keep going. Faith is not blind optimism. It is confident trust in the one who designed the race and marked the course. It is the knowing that if you were called to run, you were also equipped to finish. Faith often requires movement before manifestation. Too many people stand still, waiting for confirmation before they start, but faith steps forward and lets the confirmation meet them on the journey. The waters did not part for the Israelites until they stepped into them. The walls of Jericho did not fall until they marched around them. The breakthrough did not arrive for many in Scripture until they acted in obedience, not in certainty. Faith takes the first step without having all the answers, because it is anchored in the belief that the answers will meet you along the way. This kind of vision changes how you handle setbacks. When faith has already seen the finish line, it treats delays as detours, not dead ends. It may acknowledge the pain, the waiting, the frustration, but it never loses sight of the goal. Even when the race takes longer than expected, faith keeps moving because it knows the finish line hasn't moved. The promise is still where it was when you first believed. The mind anchored in faith rehearses the outcome until it becomes part of its identity. Athletes visualize themselves breaking the tape before they ever run the race. Leaders imagine the solution before the problem is solved. Builders see the structure before the first brick is laid. This mental picture shapes every decision, every habit, every word, because faith behaves today as if tomorrow has already happened. There is a strength that comes when you believe the victory is already yours. It takes the pressure off of proving yourself and places the emphasis on preparing yourself. Faith frees you from the need to see the entire journey before taking the first step. It shifts your confidence from your own ability to the certainty of the outcome. And when that conviction is set deep in your spirit, you begin to run differently, lighter, stronger, and more determined. Because you are not chasing the finish line, you are running toward something that has already been secured for you.